My name is LaTanya Carter, your relationship specialist. In this video, you are probably searching for information on how to have a better connection with your partner and how to feel and speak love. This is an important aspect of the relationship. Welcome to Committed to Change with your girl, LaTanya Carter, your relationship specialist. We're going to take this journey together. The question is, do you have the will to change? Relationships require work and are bound to have challenges, small and large. With your commitment and your willpower to do what it takes, you will have the relationship that you want with yourself and with others. Take out your paper and pen and let's begin. Hi, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time tuning in, please like, subscribe, and stay a while. So today we're going to be talking about The 5 Love Languages, a book by Gary Chapman. Now, you may have heard of this book. You may have heard of the 5 love languages, but have you implemented it in your own relationship? So I encourage you to take out your paper and pen and let's begin. Now, in this book, there are some powerful tools to put in your relationship toolbox, okay? And if you want to emotionally connect with your partner, then really get into the meat of what these 5 love languages are and being able to recognize what your love language is, as well as your partner's love languages, is going to enhance your overall relationship. Now, I don't want you to get the idea that if you go through this book, you highlight it and you do the things that you think you need to do and then you expect your partner to change. It doesn't work that way. So there are other areas in your relationship that you would need to work on as well, whether it's effective communication, conflict resolution, learning to forgive each other. But in this segment, we're going to focus on identifying those things that will connect you and your partner to enhance your overall relationship. So let's dig in, okay? So we're gonna talk about the 5 love languages. Now, I've said that several times now. So what are the 5 love languages? So the first love language is words of affirmation. Then you have acts of service, gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Now, if I went too fast, the first one is words of affirmation, acts of service, gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Now, just by me saying those 5 love language, you may already know or have an idea of what your love language is. Think about what you do on a day-to-day basis for your spouse or your partner. And think about the things that upset you about your spouse or partner when they don't do certain things for you. You know, maybe they don't take out the trash, or they don't do the laundry, or they don't help with washing dishes. Then that means maybe your love language is acts of service, right? But there is a way for you to find out what your love language is by taking the love language quiz, which you can find online. We're going to start from the top with words of affirmation. So before I tell you or give you examples of words of affirmation, I want you to write down what you believe words of affirmation are. Okay, so take a moment to do that. Pause the video if you need to. Well, words of affirmation, if your love language is words of affirmation or your partner's love language is words of affirmation, then that means you would like to hear precisely what your partner appreciates about you. An example of that would be, I appreciate the hard work that you do around the house. I appreciate the fact that you are very attentive to my needs. I appreciate the fact that you take good care of the children. Or it could be, I love you. I need you. What would I do without you? So did you get that? All right, so if that's your love language or your partner's love language, start recognizing how you can make a difference in those areas in your relationship. Now, if your love language is acts of service, take a moment, write down what does that look like to you? Or what would that look like for your partner. So if you need to, pause the video. Acts of service, which this could be a difficult one for many people, especially if you feel like your partner is needy or they always wanting you to do things for them. So this could be a difficult one for some people. But if you change your mindset, right, you change your life. So change the way you look at your partner's needs in this area of acts of service. So maybe your partner takes on all of the chores in the house and run all the errands. You can ask your partner, what is it that you would want me to do to assist with the things around the house or the things that you need done outside of the home? So whether it's picking up the mail or whether it's taking out the trash or washing dishes or picking up the clothes from the laundry. It could be a number of things. These are just some examples. But the best way to find this information out is to communicate with your partner, okay? And again, this is not about just you, it's about the overall relationship. So humble yourself and remember that this is your partner's love language, or if this is your love language, then recognize that these are things that you want to be done for you and have that conversation with your partner. Now, love language number 3 is gifts. So what does that look like in your relationship? Does your partner like gifts? Do you like gifts? Take a moment to write those things down, pause the video, and come back. All right, so let's talk about gifts. Now, if your love language or your partner's love language is gifts, it may be hard for you to say that my love language is gifts, right? Which means you like to receive things from your partner. Now, what does that look like to you? Now, some people may think, oh, they want a $2,000 purse or they want something extravagant. No, a gift could be a flower with the cologne or perfume that your partner likes, right? Or it could be a written note, something that they remember about the relationship, and they give you that and say, I was just thinking about you today. So it could be expensive, but it doesn't have to be. It could be something as simple as you just thinking about them and this gift reminds them of you. 4th love language is quality time. Again, you know the routine. Take a moment and write that down. And how does that look in your relationship if your partner's love language is quality time? Now, quality time could be watching TV together, right? But not necessarily, I wouldn't go to just watching TV together, right? Because the time needs to be focused on your partner. So that could be, when you're walking in the mall together, you're holding hands, right? Just giving that undivided attention to that individual, taking them out to eat, but you're not on your phone, but having quality conversation, just having that one-on-one connection with your partner. Now, the 5th love language is physical touch. And some people be like, let's talk about sex, baby. No, it's not all about sex when it comes to physical touch. So write that down, and what does that look like in your relationship, right? So physical touch, it can end up in the bedroom, but it's not all about the bedroom. So someone's love language that is physical touch, it could be holding hands, hugging, spending that time connecting, right? Cuddling, those things, that's physical touch. And again, it can lead to other things, but it does not have to. And if your partner's perception of you is that you always want sex, then try to have those intimate moments that do not lead up to sex, right? And then you'll be surprised that you may not be trying to do anything, but they may be trying to do something with you, and that would be amazing, right? So those are the 5 love languages. Now, I don't want you to be in a box and say, okay, this is my primary love language, or this is my partner's primary love language, and you only focus on that. You need all 5 for the relationship to thrive and to be healthy, right? And again, remember in the beginning when I said that it's not just about the 5 love languages, right? It's about what is your intent. You have to humble yourself and know that you are committed to change from within so that your overall relationship can change, right? And then you want to also make sure that you are working on having effective communication. You're communicating your needs with your partner. And you also want to make sure that you are having healthy conflict resolution. So, as we recap, remember to be humble, to know why you are committing to change. Now that we've discussed the 5 love languages, there's another nugget in this book, The 5 Love Languages. And chapter 2 in this book, it talks about keeping the love tank full. Now, in this book, Gary Chapman, he talks about inside every child is an emotional tank waiting to be filled with love. Do you agree? Are you waiting to be filled with love? There's an activity in the book called the Love Tank Game. And 3 times a week, you would ask your partner, how full is your love tank? And then your partner would say, for example, a 6. And then you would say, well, if it's a 6, then what would make it a 10? And that holds your partner accountable for telling you what it is that would fill their love tank. Because a lot of times, we assume that our partner knows what will fill our love tank when in actuality, they may not know, or they think that they're already doing the things to fill your love tank. Remember we talked about earlier about acts of service. If your love language is acts of service, you show love in your love language, but your partner's love language is words of affirmation. So although you're doing things for your partner, but you're not saying those things, your partner's love tank is not being filled just because you're not saying those things, even though you're showing your appreciation in acts of service. So you want to have that conversation with your partner. And then once you ask your partner what their love, how full their love tank is, then they tell you, then you choose whether you want to fill your partner's love tank. And then vice versa, your partner will ask you, and if you say your love tank is 8, then your partner will ask you, well, if it's an 8 now, what would make it a 10? And then you have that conversation with your partner. This holds you accountable because now you're not assuming that you're filling your partner's love tank or you're meeting your partner's needs. You're actually having a conversation. And if you are feeling neglected, now you understand or you're able to communicate to your partner that, hey, my needs are not being met, without actually saying, hey, my needs are not being met, because you're communicating in such a way that you're expressing that you want to connect with your partner, that you want to fill your partner's love tank. Now, does that make sense to you guys? I hope so, because I know in my own relationship, taking these 5 love languages, taking the quiz with my husband, finding out what his love language is, finding out what my own love language is, and then making that connection and making those changes within our own relationship after 20 plus years of being together, 21 years this year being married. You know, these tools have really helped our relationship to grow. Now, I just want to recap that this alone is not going to give you the relationship that you want. There are other areas in your relationship that you will continue to have to work on, because we're all a whip. So what's a whip? A work in progress. We have to continue to work on our relationship, continue to put those tools in our toolbox that will assist us in those areas. And remember always to continue to have that connection with God, have that effective communication, work on conflict resolution, and identifying the things that you need to work on within yourself and things that you can provide to your partner to also increase their happiness within the relationship. To reiterate what we talked about today, remember that to have that emotional connection, it starts with you, right? You cannot do the work within a relationship without working on yourself first. So it starts with you. And then thinking about, how do I want to connect with my partner now that I have this tool that was discussed today? And to recap, what are the 5 love languages? Words of affirmation, acts of service, gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Go do your research and take the quiz and start to progress within your relationship. Thank you for joining me today, allowing me to come into your home and to have this discussion with you. I want you to take these tools and put them in your toolbox and continue to grow within your relationship with yourself and with others. Until next time, remember to always commit to change. If you're enjoying these videos so far, and if you missed any of them, please go back and check out my previous videos so that we can continue to grow together. As always, remember to commit to change.
How does she
phase it? Yeah, so when we had our first 2 children, like I mentioned, I went to school for 6 years. And so, of course, we had to budget our finances a certain way. And now that we both are doing well in our careers and our businesses, our youngest daughter said that, well, you had me at a different time in your financial life, and so I have different expectations than my siblings, right?
Yeah, because both of her siblings are older and out the house, so she thinks she rich.
So what advice would you give to couples that are trying to get to? Welcome to Committed to Change with your girl, LaTanya Carter, your relationship specialist. We're going to take this journey together. The question is, do you have the will to change? Relationships require work and are bound to have challenges, small and large. With your commitment and your willpower to do what it takes, you will have the relationship that you want with yourself and with others. Take out your paper and pen and let's begin.